Casper and Dennis here for Submission Radio here at Kick-Ass MMA in Perth ahead of UFC 305 with the legend himself, former champ, YouTube extraordinaire, Daniel Cormier. Everybody's exhausted, man, but when this opportunity comes, you got to take it.
Try to run out, was in the bathroom, try to go home. We're like, no, come on. You love the check-in with us.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I know the flight was absolutely brutal, man.
Dude.
Right? But
It's crazy for the Australians that have to go to the United States constantly.
Yeah, I know. Now you get a taste of it.
We did it a few times, and now we don't do it anymore.
So it was 24 and a half hours from door to door. My house to this hotel. So it was long.
Was it worth it though? Because when you sat down with Israel Adesanya, dude, you look like a kid in a candy store. You were so happy to check in.
So it was good to talk to Izzy. You know, we've been kind of planning this for a while, but it had never come together. Dricus' interview comes out today, and it was awesome. It's always good getting to sit with the athletes because, you know, being that I've done it, right, and fought, they're very open and they're honest, and it seems to lend itself to a level of comfortability that they have, and it's working out well for me. I enjoy it. Yeah,
we do a phenomenal job. Yeah. What was your biggest read? It's different when you sit down face to face, you get to look someone in the eye. Israel's taken such a long time off. When you saw him, what was your biggest takeaway out of all your curiosities that you had?
It felt like he's refreshed. This dude carried a heavy schedule, man. His schedule was crazy. They rode him. They rode him through the pandemic. They rode him after the pandemic, and he always showed up. And he won. So he continued to fight and make a ton of money, but you need a break. And it feels like he's refreshed and excited again about having the opportunity to go out and fight and try to become champion.
It's interesting, man, because you yourself, legendary career, double champion. But I remember we've covered a few fights with you where you were going in injured, you had a sore back, a back injury, all sorts of stuff going on. So you can connect to this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
For your own journey, like just going back to that, can you take us into what it's like to be going into fights constantly but not being 100%? And what does that do to you? Just going back to Israel, obviously the Sean Strickland fight in Sydney was an example of that.
Fighters they're monsters because they have such strong minds that they convince themselves that they're okay, when in reality they're not. But I don't even know that it was just Izzy's body as run down as it probably was hard mentally. You're always getting ready to fight the most dangerous, scariest guy in the world every time when you're the champion. And he did that time and time and time again. He had one of the greatest title reigns we've seen in a long time. And I think this break will serve him well. I'm not saying he's going to win because of it. But I think he'll be better in the octagon than he was the last time because he's able to reset. It's hard to carry that schedule. But Dricus is tough. He's very good.
We've still got the press conference tomorrow, so there's still time for a bit of fiery, spicy things. But so far, it's been a pretty mellow lead-up, right? When you go back to when they were in the cage, it was crazy, it was chaotic. And here, Israel's just very zen. Dricus is saying things, but it's all quite mellow. What's your read on it? And also, you've had one of the most craziest feuds in UFC history with John Jones. Do you, at some point, need to turn that on and make this person an enemy in here, or is it better to go in not with that mentality? You're Israel.
I think that these guys know that, and Drake has said this to me in a fighter meeting, he goes, all the talking's done. Nothing we can say or do right now will change the fact that we have to fight. He goes, all wars start with two people that are at the top getting to an issue. Then the people from their country go and fight the war. He goes, in MMA, you actually get to fight the war yourself. He goes, so it doesn't matter what Izzy and I say anymore, right? He goes, I've said what I've said. He said what he said. Ultimately, Sunday morning, Saturday night in the United States, those questions and everything will be answered. He said, so yeah, that's why they're like that. But I told him, I said, both, I go, it got uncomfortable. Right, there are some rivalries that get uncomfortable. Jones and I at times got uncomfortable. Khabib and Conor got uncomfortable. I said, you guys are in that category, but right now, it has not continued down that path since we've been here. But wait till the press conference. I think when they come face to face, you're going to see more of that.
Who do you think has the edge mentally going into this one?
They both feel like they won the first step in terms of the mental game. Izzy said that outburst that so many people judged him for was planned. He had that in his mind that that's what he wanted to do. And Dricus feels like he was outside of himself in that interaction, so he won. They both feel like they have the advantage. It's hard to get a read on it, right? Because I'm just an outsider. You can always tell when you're inside, right? But from the outside, it may seem one way, but you don't really know what the athlete's thinking.
People slept on Dricus for such a long time,
Dude,
right?
I do it all. I did it so much.
Right.
I literally had to sit in front of him and go, I'm done. Like you're really, really good. He's really good.
What's his biggest tool in this fight?
Well, you know what the problem with Dricus is, the things that he does, they don't look like everybody else. His feet may cross at an odd time. He may throw a punch from a weird angle. He might do a takedown in a weird way. But it's working. So you have to accept that because it looks different, it's not wrong. It's his way, right? It's his style, and he's mastered it. He's mastered it to the point that he's the world champion. So I think that awkwardness will play to his benefit on Saturday night.
Last one for me, because you got to get out of here. After the Strickland loss, or with that one, how crucial is a win here for Israel?
I think Izzy needs to win, man. He's got to win this fight. Because I don't know what the career looks like for a guy like Israel Adesanya if he isn't in the title reign. Motivation's a tricky thing, especially for a guy that seems to have everything. All the money, all the titles. He's got the fame. He's got everything. Getting up to fight for a championship again is easier than saying, I'm just going to fight on a pay-per-view and I might be the co-main event. I don't know if that's in Izzy's cards anymore. I think it's titles. And if it's not titles, it's getting back to titles. But I don't know that he has that run in him. And I don't know if he should have to have that run in him because he's done so much already. It's vital that he wins on Saturday.
As we wrap up, people would kill me if I didn't ask you. Obviously, you're a legend at 205 in heavyweight. You spent some time around Dricus. He's mentioned that one day he'd like to go up to 205 and claim that belt as well. Your perspective, do you believe this is a man that could be a double champion in the future? From what you've seen from him?
I'm not doubting him no more. I'm just done doubting Dricus Du Plessis, man. I think he can do whatever he wants. You know, he's shown time and time again that he can do anything. And Alex Pereira showed that it's possible, right? Going from middleweight to light heavyweight and winning a lot. So, yeah, I think he could under the right circumstances. A lot of times it's about matchups, right? The right person holding the belt is what makes you make that decision. And I think with the right matchup, Dricus could be double champ.
There it is, guys. All the legendary things that you've done in your career, the flight, and then hanging around long enough to sit with us, probably
and
the
a
most.
seminar before. Of
Yeah, it
course,
was
the
awesome.
amazing YouTube channel. Everybody
So
needs
many
to
people.
check out.
I love thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Subscribe to Daniel. Thank you so much for your time, man. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
guys. Thank you guys so much for having me. You're the best.